Today, we are taking a trip back in time and stepping into one of the oldest cities in the world. That's right, today we're heading to China's capital, Beijing. As the country's capital for over 800 years, Beijing is not only recognized as a historical and cultural hub, but more importantly, as the home to the finest remnants of China's imperial past. Join me as we uncover 6 of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites that have stood the test of time, in none other than Beijing, China. Firstly, we have Jiuan, which only opened its doors to the public in 1953, but was discovered 32 years before that. Located in the southwest of the central city, near a small village, you'll find an archaeological site that has yielded the largest known collection of fossils of the extinct Homo erectus, commonly referred to as the caveman or Peking man. Can you imagine standing before the bones of a person who lived and walked through the earth 1,000,000 years ago? That's an experience you won't want to miss. But it gets better. When you visit Jiuan, you'll get the chance to immerse in 2 rare experiences. You can learn more about cavemen behavior and their evolution at the on-site museum, or you can visit the excavation at the Upper and New Caveman sites. If you can't choose, do both. The museum exhibits showcase more than 1,600 relics, fossils, and man-made tools. There's also a 4D movie theater and interaction zone for additional fun. And all of those for only 30 yuan. Next, we're heading to the Ming tombs, also known as the 13 tombs of the Ming dynasty. Located 50 kilometers northeast of Beijing City, at the foot of Tianshu Mountain lies the mausoleums of 13 out of 16 emperors of the Ming dynasty. The first emperor to be buried at this monumental site was Zhu Di, way back in 1409. He now rests in his Changling tomb, which is surrounded by the tombs of the 12 succeeding emperors. All in all, the 13 tombs cover about 120 square kilometers. In front of the imperial necropolises, there is a sacred way or a divine road, which serves as a guide that leads you to the tombs. In Chinese belief, the sacred way is the road leading to heaven. And since the emperor is considered the son of heaven, who came from heaven to his country, it is believed that in death, he returns to heaven on the same path. Along this road, you'll see numerous interesting sights, such as the stone tablet archway, larger-than-life stone figures, and ornamental columns. After crossing the 7.3-kilometer Spiritway, you'll arrive at the Changling Tomb, which is the largest and best-preserved mausoleum among the 13 Ming tombs. It has 3 courtyards in the front and a treasure city hidden around the back. Then, in the middle of it all, you'll come face-to-face with the magnificent Grace and Blessing Palace, also known as the Lingen Palace, where the bronze statue of the emperor seated on his throne is displayed. The purpose of this figure is not only to celebrate his life and death, but more importantly, to symbolize his power and grandeur even in the afterlife. Besides the Changling tomb, there are 2 other tombs that are open to the public. These are the Dingling tomb, which rests Emperor Zhu Yijin, the 13th emperor, and the Jiaoling tomb, which houses the 12th emperor Zhu Zaihu. I'm only scratching the surface of the stories behind this heritage site. You truly have to see it for yourself to understand the splendor of it all, and the best way to do so is to book a private tour. Beijing is so full of majestic monuments and sites, and the Grand Canal is definitely one of its many wonders. Constructed from the 5th century BC onwards, the Grand Canal is a series of waterways that connects Hangzhou to the Zhejiang province. The entire hydraulic project spans 1,800 kilometers, which makes it the longest constructed waterway in the world. Because of its vastness, the Grand Canal was divided into 3 sections, namely the Suitang Grand Canal, the Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal, and the Zhejiang or Eastern Zhejiang Canal. Each one had different routes, which played a crucial role in the cultural and economic exchanges between China's northern and southern regions. Of course, as a tourist working on limited time, it's impossible for you to pass through all 1,800 kilometers of waterways. So, you have 2 choices. 1, you can hire a cheap water service bus for 3 to 5 yuan that takes you from Wulinmen Pier to Hongchengqiao Pier. It operates every day, every 2 hours, from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Second, you can take a round-trip night cruise of the canal that starts and ends at Wulinmen Pier. The entire journey is around 12 kilometers, and it occurs only at 7:30 p.m. The price for this excursion is 100 yuan. If you prefer not to go into the water, a great activity you can enjoy is to visit the traditional buildings and cultural sites along the canal. Some notable ones include the Chaoxi Historic District and Xiaohei Historic Street Block, which feature typical Chinese Western architectural sites. Do you want to know another historical site that Beijing is known for? It's the Summer Palace. This name comes from the fact that emperors used it as their retreat during the summertime. But don't be fooled by its name. This destination isn't just one palace. It's a massive park featuring multiple structures, lakes, restaurants, boat rides, and even a recreation of a Ming Dynasty village. The Summer Palace was first built in 1750, only to be destroyed during the war with the British and French in 1860. It wasn't until 1988 that its original foundations were restored. And it wasn't until 1914 that the palace became open to the public. A lot of tourists who visit this landmark spend at least half a day here. That's because there's just so much to see, do, and enjoy. The Hall of Benevolence and Longevity is the key feature of the area because this was where government and administrative affairs took place. It was then surrounded by 3 building complexes that served as the residential area for the emperors and their families. Another interesting site here is called the Tower of Buddhist Incense. It's an octagonal structure designed for worshipping Buddha. Besides that, there's also the Long Corridor, which is the longest covered promenade in the world that allows you to revel in the idyllic views of the garden, all the while strolling under beautifully painted ceilings. If you want to see the shopping streets where emperors and their mistresses would visit, you have to check out Suzhou Street. There is a whole lot more to see and do here, so go ahead and purchase a through ticket for 60 yuan during peak season and 50 yuan during off-season. This ticket gives you access to the palace, the many gardens, and the shopping street. Of course, a visit to Beijing would not be complete without a trip to the Great Wall of China. Do you know the famous saying, "Rome wasn't built in a day"? Well, the same holds true for this historical landmark. Historians say that Rome was built in 1,229 years, and the Great Wall took way longer than that. In fact, it was built by 19 dynasties over the span of over 2,000 years. The entire wall runs for 8,850 kilometers from east to west. What's particularly fascinating about this structure, beyond its rich history, is the way it was constructed. Most of the wall follows the crest lines of hills and mountains, snaking through the picturesque Chinese countryside. And about a quarter of its length consists of natural barriers, such as rivers and mountain ridges. Because of this, it's become a major tourist attraction, and the one thing a lot of tourists do when they visit the Great Wall is to hike. While that's well and good, I'm here to tell you that there are so many more interesting things you can do here than simply walking. If you're a lover of the great outdoors, you can camp in Jianku. But you have to be careful because it's considered a wild and perilously steep section of the wall. If you decide to push through anyway, the perfect time to do this unforgettable experience is during early autumn when it's not too hot and not too cold. There are also fewer clouds this season, so you can enjoy clear views of the wall winding its way along the mountains in the morning and the Milky Way at night. That is, if you're lucky enough, having a picnic is another great idea. The best sections are in Mutianyu and Simitai. These areas are not as touristy, so you can have a little bit of privacy as you enjoy a scenic meal. On top of those, did you know that you can take a toboggan down the Great Wall? Other areas also offer cable cars for a more convenient descent. These options are fantastic, especially if you feel tired after a long hike up the wall. So far, all of the ancient wonders on this list are truly bucket list worthy. But have I mentioned any of your must-see sites yet? If not, get ready, because this next one just might be the perfect addition to your travel plans. At number 1, we have the Forbidden City. Built during the early 1400s, the Forbidden City was the center of China's administration. That's why it's considered the heart of Beijing and one of the city's must-visit destinations. For only 60 yuan during peak season and 40 yuan during off-peak season, you can enjoy a full day here. So start your adventure at the Meridian Gate. This is the main entrance where you'll find yourself in front of the Golden Water River. After crossing the bridge, you'll come across the Gate of Supreme Harmony, which is where the 3 palaces are located. Feel free to take in the incredible views, the vibrant colors, and the white marble terraces. Once you get your fill, continue walking until you enter the inner court through the Gate of Heavenly Purity. Here you'll find 3 structures, namely the Palace of Heavenly Purity, the Palace of Earthly Tranquility, and the Hall of Celestial and Terrestrial Union. You can totally explore the Forbidden City at your own pace, but under no circumstances should you skip the Treasure Gallery. This is a museum near the Palace of Tranquil Longevity, and it hosts an impressive collection of everyday objects used by the imperial families during the Qing dynasty. The admission for this attraction is another 10 yuan per person. If you have any free time left, head over to Jingshan Park to get panoramic views over the entire Forbidden City. With Beijing's captivating history and breathtaking sights, it truly stands out as one of the best getaways in the world. So, was I able to cross off anything from your travel bucket list? If not, what else do you want to see in Beijing? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love this next one.